It's new fucking Doctor Who, Connor. Oh my god! I can't.
It's happened. Oh my god!
It's there. It's every fucking where. It's the Flux. It's the Flux.
Doctor, it's back. It's back.
Damn.
It's good to be back.
Whew. Man, whilst I was waiting for you to come on, then I was putting together the table for Series 13. Flux, ready to go. That's what we're doing today, by the way. If you didn't get that from that intro, we're talking about the Halloween apocalypse, fresh, hot off the press. But I was putting together the Series 13 thing, and I was like, every series, the table I have recording our scores, it always starts with the Christmas special. So I was like, all right, I'll put Revolution of the Daleks at the top there, so that when we do a series rating, that gets included in there. Otherwise, it wouldn't be included with any series. The episode. So the first column in each of my series spreadsheets, each episode, the first column has the episode number of our show that we reviewed it on. We reviewed Revolution of the Daleks on episode 34 of our show, and we are now on episode 80.
Wow.
Like,
holy
what
shit.
the fuck?
Well, yeah, that was
January 2nd for us, wasn't it? From memory?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So that was fucking ages ago. That was like the beginning of the year. That is insane. Wow.
That was bananas.
Look at that. It's been so long.
This is our first new series since we started the show.
We've only had Resolution
since we started the show, which is insane. So
Revolution, yeah.
Revolution.
So
I was getting those two mixed up.
Why not open up a fresh, crispy beer and just a lovely little single one. It's a nice summer ale, so it's getting all summery. And
I know. Look at that.
Saying that, it's shit weather today. So
yeah, it's been a bit weird, but it's. I felt happy today. There's something about Doctor Who coming back that makes me feel like a kid on Christmas morning. We were both up pretty early watching it because I had to go to work, so I woke up at 6 and watched the episode, and then I came back and I watched it again and actually made quite a lot of notes. I never make notes, but because it's a new series and it's a new episode, and there was so much to talk about, and I thought if I didn't make notes, I would forget heaps of stuff, and I didn't want to forget anything, so wrote some stuff down. So
banging. New series, new Connor, new companion. That's it, man. Dude,
we're gonna do.
Should we just get straight into it? Straight into this epic show.
I think we're gonna be here a while.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
50% podcast.
Wow. That's so cool, man.
Love it.
Yeah, so we both watched this twice now. Connor, I can't believe you watched it twice because that's not something that you usually do. I don't think you've watched any of the episodes from series 11 even twice in the past 4 years.
Not wrong. I don't know if it's just because it's like a new episode and I'm excited, but I do want to, watch each of these twice and make notes each week because, yeah, like I said, it's a big occasion for us as well doing the podcast. I know it's like a rewatch show, but I think also we've been like killing it with the socials as well.
So I think it's a really good time to. Yeah, we've both been posting heaps. So I think it's a really good time to. Not that we didn't take it seriously before, but be better at doing the socials, do better at like making notes, and watching the episodes twice, so I didn't miss anything. And you really do pick up on a lot more stuff, and especially when watching it early, which is what I did the first time. Like you do miss some stuff. So, and I know, but it isn't like me. So. Yeah.
Crazy, man. General consensus online from what I've seen has been pretty positive for this episode, which is crazy. I feel like the fandom for the first time in I feel like as long as we've been doing this show, the year and a half we've been doing this program, I feel like we've always said how shit the fandom is and how even though, for example, you don't like the show, the fandom is still always just so shitty about it and stuff like that. It's all really nice to see. Obviously, people are excited for RTD, but at least this first episode, people are really excited and enjoying it. Obviously, not everyone, but it's really cool.
Yeah, I only saw a couple people say they didn't like it, and you're always going to get that anyway. But yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of people seem to really like it, which was amazing to see. I really liked it. I thought it was really good, and for me to actually enjoy it after not necessarily really enjoying seasons 11 and 12 very much. I like 12 a lot more, but I really just didn't like 11 a lot at all. So to actually, and to finally really enjoy an episode again was so good, because I love the show so much. It's my favorite show. I want it to be amazing, and I hadn't enjoyed it the last couple of years. So it really felt like, it felt insane. So like, yeah, I think people had the same reaction. If they're in the same boat as me, people were like, hey, you know what? This is pretty good. So yeah, it's really good to see that. I'm really glad people enjoyed it. It's great to see.
Yeah. Just before we dive into it, I just want to say as well, I'm like bipolar with this episode already. Because as I was watching it the first time at like 5:30 this morning, I was like, yeah, I think I like it. I think it's good. I think I'm enjoying it. And then it got to the end, and I was like, it kind of lacked, didn't it? It didn't have any major substance and stuff. And then throughout the day, I was at work, and I was just processing it and thinking about it every now and then. And I was like, I actually think I kind of like what they've done, how they've set up all these different storylines, and we're going to delve into them.
It's so different, yeah.
I rewatched it, literally just before we came on, as you did, and I think it's really cool. I think it's very much what I always wanted Chibnall to do with the show, because it's very Broadchurch like,
110%. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It reminded me of Stolen Earth, but Stolen Earth was almost all the like seasons 1 to 4 kind of all together. Like, I know watching Stolen Earth and it being like so busy and action packed and like all these different characters, and it like didn't stand still for 2 seconds. It almost reminded me of that. But it's interesting that it was an opener instead of a final. It had such a crazy pace to it, which I found very exciting. I think I get what you mean when you said about the first time you watched it, because I think if you do look at it from like, even from like a writing standpoint, I think it doesn't really like stand on its own 2 feet, and there isn't really a lot, and you do get more questions than answers. You really do get a lot of questions, but man, was it entertaining. It was fun as the actors just seem to be having so much fun. I think John Bishop was such a great addition to the cast. I just loved all his scenes. It instantly liked his character. And it was just, it was just really fun, despite it being quite a dark episode. And I really appreciate that it was. You finally felt like there was actually stakes, which has just been missing so much. And I think even like you said today when we were talking through text, I do agree. Like, as much as I don't necessarily get why they're doing why they did the Timeless Children arc, it's still not finished yet, and they're definitely gonna address it this season. Totally. Which I didn't know if they were going to do it or wait a little bit. So I think that's cool as well, like to find out more information. Yeah,
I think it's interesting seeing this. Was it called The Swarm? Is that who it was referred to? The bad guy?
That's what I wrote in my notes, but I don't know if that is what they're called. But that's what I'm going to have to refer to them as, because I think that's Yeah,
I think he was the Swarm, but I don't know whether that was just him in his like older gross body before he turned young and handsome. Which, by the way, that fucking transition sequence, fucking terrifying. Like, as a kid, that would have scared the shit out of me. That looked like awful in the best way possible.
I so agree. I think that's awesome. I love the idea of like, when I feel like I would be a kid, if I was a kid watching it and thinking this would scare the heebie-jeebies out of me, and as like a grown-ass man of 23 watching it and going, damn, like this is quite creepy. Imagine what young kids, and I think that's awesome. And I really think Chivers has done a really good job at making the show quite scary again. Apart from the odd episode here and there with like Howdy's Run, it wasn't that scary anymore, I don't think. And I think this episode definitely had some things that would make kids get scared, especially like for a Halloween episode as well, which you know, it should be more spookier. I'm smiling. I think I'm really excited for what it's gonna become. Like, it's exciting, you know. It's just exciting.
I'm exciting as well. I'm excited as well that it's. I was a bit worried that they were making it this big like 6-part event thing, and it was gonna be like each episode just slightly carried on over to the next one.
Yeah, loosely,
loose story, which would have been fine, but I would much prefer they go the route which they did go, which seems to be just like everything's happening at once. We'll talk about the next time trailer for next week, which we'll talk about that later on. But that seems to slow down. But also, have you seen the BBC America trailer for that?
No,
because the BBC one makes it look like it's just like a Sontaran-based episode in the Crimean War, which I think it is for the most part. But there's a lot more to it than that by the look of the BBC America trailer for it. There's a lot of crazy shit going on.
Of course, they always release a different trailer when it's on BBC America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We will get into it, but yeah, it's interesting how the BBC kind of marketed it as like a bit more standalone. But hey, that's interesting you say that. Like, I'm just Oh wow, I just saw that on a our breakdown for the trailer got 93 views. Look at us saying we're like really popular.
Oh
this is what's gonna be so cool. This is what's gonna be so cool about again releasing this in a new series. Is I feel like we're gonna have such cool conversations with people as well, and more people are gonna be able to tune in, and that's the coolest thing about it. You get so excited talking to people about it and thinking about what's going to happen next week. I think that's so cool. Like, it's not like a Netflix show where everything just drops at once. We got like a whole week now to speculate what's going to happen next.
And for us, like we've said a few times already on the show, this is our first time doing like full series like this, where we've got people we talk to about the show regularly and stuff like that now. Used to just be like me, Cotter, and sometimes Dan would just like message about it, sometimes Dave. But now we have like, we've got all sorts of mates that we can chat theories with and stuff like that. And this show is sort of, I guess, the launch pad for that. Anyways, I was saying to Connor, usually I read the Wikipedia synopsis. They're the really overly wordy ones that always twist my bloody tongue. But there's no Wikipedia page for episode 1 yet. So we're going on to TARDIS Wiki with the Halloween Apocalypse,
so weird, hey?
Prefixed in various sources with either Flux or simply Chapter 1, was the first episode of Series 13 of Doctor Who and formed the first chapter of the 6-part serial Doctor Who Flux. This opening chapter introduced the Flux, a universe-breaking force which is bound for Earth, as well as Swarm, who escapes his confinement and frees his sister Azuri from her earthly life. There you go, there's the names. Dan Lewis also joins the TARDIS team, ending Yasmin Khan's largely unwritten solo travels with the 13th Doctor. Back when we didn't know that this was going to be a 6-part story and we just thought we were going to get 8 single episodes making up the series. I was always like, I just wish we got maybe like 3 solo Dr. Yaz eps before Dan. Joined.
Yeah, you spoke about that.
With the way that it is now, with it being 1 6-parter, I think the like 20 minutes we had of just the Dr. Yaz was a really good amount, and I did enjoy that dynamic, and I'm sure we'll see more of that further. But I think it was a good idea to bring Dan in. I think this is a great TARDIS team, by the way. I think this is really awesome. I like this.
110%. Yeah, I literally wrote in my notes more near the end that even that first scene with Yaz and Dan on the ship was great. Like, their chemistry just instantly worked.
Really good.
I thought it really worked well. So, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I didn't love the TARDIS team last time. So, like, again, to have something that I feel like is going to work this time around is really exciting.
It's really cool. And I was saying this, I think I might have said this on this show before, but I was definitely saying it to my mum earlier, who hasn't watched it yet, but she was saying she's a fan of John Bishop and stuff. And I was saying, I think I think I prefer him over Bradley Walsh in this, because I think whilst both of them are like obviously comedian backgrounds and stuff like that, and both of them seem to be quite versatile actors, but I think when it comes to comedy, I feel like Bradley Walsh always worked best when it was something that he'd improved, or it's something on like The Chase or something. He does the tragic stuff great, but I always thought that a lot of his humor kind of fell a little flat, and I don't think that might not be on him. I think it's maybe they weren't writing the humor that he was good at
Yeah,
or
the
something.
jokes just
But John Bishop, this seems to be really working for him. I think this script, it's really good. I think.
Yeah, I think we're going to agree very much on this episode because I pretty much agree with everything you're saying. I really think he did great, and there was like multiple times, and I've written down the stuff that made me laugh. There's multiple times where he just made me laugh, and like the delivery was just funny, and I'm like, hang on a minute, Chib wrote a few jokes that made me laugh. I was like, what's going on here? Like, we're in his third season, and maybe I'm gonna really like it, and that is just like that's what I've been wanting from the get go. Like it seems like such a different vibe as well, which is kind of like what happened with Matt's final season as well. It was a bit of a tonal change as well, and I think this was a big tonal change, which I think was needed.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm smiling a lot because I think it's like I think it's great. It's about time that we got something that's really exciting coming from Doctor Who. It's been a while, so yeah.
No, there's all some really high stakes stuff. It's really cool. Okay, let's start. Broadly speaking, so the script. All right, I'll give a few thoughts on it, and then you can chime in with what you want to say.
Go ahead.
I feel like the first two series of Chibnall, the biggest trope is the dialogue that's overly exposition heavy. That says things just for like she'll say, "I need to move this ring mirror," instead of just moving it like they would in sort of any other script of any show, really. This episode, whilst I think there was a little bit of dialogue that could have been chopped, I think it was quite tight. I do actually think the dialogue was pretty solid in this episode. What did you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with his previous two seasons, and there was a couple of times as well. I definitely think it was a lot better. I think as well, like it's very easy to say with this episode that like, it was messy, but I think it does take talent to juggle all those characters, and so much fucking happens in 50 minutes. Like it's crazy, and I think for the fact that you leave the episode and you go, you know what, that was actually really fun. I think is actually showing that he can do some really good writing. But apart from the occasional thing here and there, like I noticed it a few times where like I've got it written down here, but I noticed it a few times where either when like they show out the Weeping Angels and stuff, like he made the character be like, "I don't blink, it's time for you to walk away." And like, why are you saying it out loud? Like no one says this kind of thing. Like, I thought that scene was really cool, and really like enticing and interesting to where it's gonna go. But there was a few times when like characters are just saying out loud what they're doing, and I think especially in the first scene, the opening scene, which is my least favorite scene in the episode, is the opener,
really?
Before the credits. Yeah, I don't hate it. I think it's pretty fucking funny and fun.
Yeah, I think it's so silly. I kind of love it.
It's silly, but it's. I actually can't say I hate it. Like I actually think it's funny, but there was just a few too many things where just like. Yeah, it's like, and then you did this, and then you did that, and then you did this. And it's like, if you'd been together the whole time, why would you be recapping the entire? But still, it bothered me so much less because I was like, man, this is just fun. Like, it seems to not be taking itself as seriously, but also having a serious like story as well.
It's like taking itself less seriously, but also having really high stakes. I think is the best way to think of it.
Yeah, it's like it's not boring dialogue and boring scenes. Like it was very entertaining, and I think the script was very tight for an episode that went all over the place. This episode could have so easily been a massive mess, like easily. So the fact that it's really not half bad, I think, is a testament to Chibnall. So yeah,
fuck yeah, Chibnall, good job, mate.
Fuck yeah, Chibnall.
Let's
go.
I don't know how this works, that somehow writing like a big we're only one episode in, but somehow writing a big 6-part story, he can just handle so much better than these individual episodes, I don't hate all of his individual episodes, but like I do think this is one of the strongest ones of his tenure.
Yeah, I know. And I guess like the kind of is that like and this is a positive and a negative to this episode because we don't know how it's going to play out. Like this could all be setting up stuff that doesn't go anywhere, and then I'll probably look back at this episode and go, "Oh, it's not really that good anymore because it didn't really go anywhere." But and it does worry me a little bit because there seems like so much stuff to like kind of explain. But I've got faith. I think the fact that this episode wasn't shit actually gives me faith that it actually could work well. So yeah, so much happened. It was so quick, and it's like not anything I've really seen from Doctor Who before in a good way, I think.
Yeah. I think the first time I watched, I was like, oh yeah, that was like crazy pacing. Like there was so much going on. On rewatch, I actually don't think it's. I think the first time you watch it, it's difficult because you're constantly being introduced to new things, and then you obviously have to take time to process that, and so it feels like things are moving faster than it actually is because you're always like kind of trying to play catch up a little bit. But when you actually kind of know the beats of the episode a little bit, I actually think the pacing is just a fast-paced episode. There is times where maybe it could have slowed down a little bit, but upon the whole, I actually do think the pacing isn't as big of an issue as I originally thought. And on rewatch, it holds up a lot more than I thought it would. I thought it was going to be like a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips kind of thing, where it was like so fucking good to absorb that at the start, and then afterwards I was going to process it and rewatch it and be like, oh, it's just this, and this. I think it's solid.
Yeah, I mean, like even I had to like some like it because I haven't watched like you said season 12 since it aired. So there was a few times where I was like, I forgot what the division was. So like when you were like in the chat with Xavier and Aiden and Aiden was talking about the division, and I was like, can you like fucking remind me again who they are? And like now I knew, and then like you're right, rewatching it again, and the little things I'd forgotten, I felt like you're right, it worked so much better, and it didn't feel like so much of a clusterfuck and like an absolute like overload of information.
Yeah.
Once you're all caught up, and if you watch it again, I think I enjoyed it even more on like a rewatch, which is like quite rare for me. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't like it as much, and now the hype's kind of gone because you know what's going to happen. But
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
I concur.
Held up still.
Shall we?
Held up.
Shall we break it down maybe in terms of subplots, because there's so much going on? Maybe rather than following it bit by bit, we just talk about each sort of different event that was happening and how we feel about those things and all that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I got most slow pace, so I can talk about that stuff wherever. So where do you want to start?
Well, we've already talked about the green screen one, which I don't think the green screen was as bad as it looked in the trailer, but still wasn't great. Let's I guess talk about the main plot first, then the whole Carvanista looking for the stealing Dan and all that, which is a big part of the episode. What did you think of Carvanista? I
thought it was great. Yeah. I really did. Good. I thought it was a great character. When you found out actually what was going on, I also thought that's smart. Like the guy who was voicing as well, like was really good with his delivery. I think I don't know if he was under the suit, but the delivery was all really good, and just was an interesting character. And the Doctor also said to him that he was one of the only people who knew what happened to the division or like knows about them.
Yeah.
So that was interesting as well, because like the episode starts and they're basically in a trap that was set up by him. And the whole episode, which by the way, I thought was really good when Yaz was constantly asking the Doctor what's going on. And I was thinking about this today when I was like driving to work. It's like, you know, I really do think Jodie's Doctor, like, it's been hard for me to understand like what her motive is and like what she really stands for and like what's going on inside her head. And that's mostly because of the writing, I think. But I really do think Jodie's Doctor, like almost like how it's like the man who regrets and the man who regrets and all that kind of thing with like Tennant and Smith's Doctor. I really think her Doctor's one that completely shuts off and doesn't talk about any of her problems.
Yeah.
And this is a thing that came up heaps in this episode with her and Yaz. And you can really tell they've been together for a long time. Even the fact that like Yaz is like a co-pilot now for the TARDIS, I thought was nice. Awesome little thing. It shows that they've got like a lot of history and they care about each other a lot.
There's also
mentioning
there's the bed in the TARDIS. Yaz and Doc be fucking in the bed in the TARDIS. They got their handcuffs on, the kinky bastards.
Yeah, did you like the little Capaldi nod? The
Scottish thing, yeah.
Great. I love it. Little things like that were just fun. And even the TARDIS is like getting yeeted this whole episode. It's going fucking crazy. Like, it's like, where do you even begin? But yeah, I thought that plot was really awesome. And the whole time with Dan and stuff, even like touching its nose and like thinking that it was someone dressed up as in a Halloween costume. It was really funny, but it knew when to be serious, and it never felt like it was doing one or the other too much.
Yeah, what did you think? John Bishop was so fucking funny in that scene, man. Where
I loved it.
He's so adamant that it's fake. It's so funny, and he's just got that scouse like sternness to him, where he's like, "Get out!"
So many funny little like some scouse like sayings and stuff. I thought was hilarious. I love how like I don't even know if that was like even scripted or that those little things he was saying.
Yeah,
so funny. It really reminded me of like
he's like, I'm gonna get the fuzzies on you or something.
Yeah, literally. There's little things like that, like ta, like all that kind of thing. It was like the first time in forever I felt like this is the character like straight from my RTD's era. Like even those scenes like reminded me of like the fun I would have with RTD's era. Yeah, he was just so funny. I think he's such a great addition to the show. It really helped the episode so much.
Totally. What? Okay, one thing, and this might have been because we had to watch it on iPlayer, BBC iView. ABC iView. That's how we watch it in Australia, which only streams at like 540p or something. And I think there was a big shot that was happening, and for me, the frame rate kind of fucked up in the shot right at a crucial moment. And then as it transitioned, I'll just say the shot. The one where you're going over Liverpool, and then it goes in through the window into the museum. It didn't look good at all on my end. Like that transition through the window looked really bad on my end. I don't know if it was just because of where we were having to watch it, but
it's so hard to tell.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it on my phone, and the second time I watched it on my laptop. And the reason why I didn't watch it on my TV is because like my fucking PlayStation's been playing up, so I had like no other option. So it's I don't know, but yeah, I have known in the past that it's been. By the way, I do normally I stream from my PlayStation in my bedroom. That's how I watch the episodes normally. Yeah, I don't know, but I do know from the past. You're right. It's always a bit funky. ABC iPlayer, ABC iPlayer. Yeah, I love that they do it. I love that you can instantly access the episode. I think that's exactly what it should be. But yeah, it can be a bit funny sometimes.
It just would be nice if it was in HD. Just because it's the only way in Australia to watch it. There's no
I mean, when it airs, like it's supposed, I believe it airs tonight at 7:30 on ABC.
Oh yeah.
ABC One. Because they do it's on terrestrial as well. But like I'm like, what's that airing in? Like 1080 easily. Like why the hell could I not just do that on iPlayer? But I think we're gonna do. I'm just glad we could watch it, you know.
Exactly. No, totally. And like I was talking to a guy on Twitter today who was saying how he can't send in a review because he can't watch the episode because he can't afford cable. And so he'll just buy the DVD when it comes out. And I was like, fuck, we're blessed to just be able to watch the episode for free.
I know. I'm so glad it went to ABC because ABC, as much as I don't like terrestrial TV, it's not my favorite. So one thing I will say, what did you think of it? I was getting flashbacks to Day of the Moon when River Song jumped off the Empire State Building and fell into the TARDIS and found the pool. What did you think of Yaz the Doctor? Because that's the one time I was like, damn, CG, when they fly into the TARDIS and they like bounce off this trampoline almost and land onto the bed.
I didn't think it looked bad. I thought it looked good,
it's
actually.
Kind of fun. I'm not saying it looked bad. I'm just saying like it was just like bonkers. Like
it was so bonkers, man. It was ridiculous.
I just noticed, like, you know, obviously it was just quite CGI heavy. I don't think it was even that bad. I just think that like it was bonkers, and it's so weird. It's normally something that would piss me off so much, but I couldn't help but kind of like love it, you know. So yeah, I think you're right. I didn't really notice anything too bad, but maybe it was just my like, streaming. And I was just like, you know, I thought it just looked bad because of my how it was streaming and the quality it was. But yeah.
Okay, we'll pick up Dan and Carvanista in a bit when we get to Doctor and Yaz being with them. So what do you think of all of Dan's early introduction scenes? Because I thought they were quite fun and a nice little bit of breathing time, but also kept the story going.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. I think that was probably one of the only moments where it was like a bit of breathing time. Again, I think it's just because John Bishop was just like very charismatic in the episode. If it was just some random character who we'd never seen before, I'm sure I wouldn't be as entertained. But yeah, I thought they were really fun. I like the idea that it sets up two really good things, I think. And I only really caught on to this the more I thought about it, and obviously on the rewatch. But one of the things it shows that he's a confident person who would like go to the museum and like do the tours, even though he's not hired there, because he cares about history and stuff and with like the adventure and all that kind of thing. But the other thing I noticed was he refuses to take the food because he says someone else would need it more. And he obviously hasn't got like a lot of money and stuff, and he's like struggling to eat. And the thing that I noticed was one, he gave the can and said, give it to someone else, the can. So he was like, give it to someone else, they'll need it more. But also he was still giving out like sweets to the trick-or-treaters and stuff.
Yeah.
So it shows that he's actually a caring person and he cares a lot about people over himself. So it set up those two little things, which I think is great when like you have to actually read into it and like see what this character's doing, like his actions, the way he talks, like his dialogue and stuff. And
that stuff was really great. I
really liked them.
Because he's such a kind guy. But I was talking to, our mate Dylan, and I said, like, I just feel like he's too nice, that he doesn't have a flaw. And then Dylan said, I think that his flaw, which, we'll get expanded on, but I think his flaw is going to be that he doesn't accept help, which I think is really cool flaw. And that's very apparent in this, he doesn't take the cans, even though he really does need it. I think it'll be, if that stuff gets expanded on, I think that'll be a great addition to Dan's character.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. And also, like, it's parallel the Doctor as well, who now got 2 feet from the TARDIS, you don't want to, like, get any help,
True.
It's just,
send help.
Yeah, interesting. No, I thought it was really good. I thought it was set up really well. Kind of made me wonder why we had characters like Yaz and Ryan and Graham and all that, who I feel like never had this. Like, this is Yaz's third season now, and I'm like, what's her character about? Like, what's her morals? Like, all this kind of thing.
Love
I'm
Yaz.
really starting to get it now.
I just think
I know you do.
There's been so much Graham and Ryan that Yaz never got her time to shine, which is why I'm glad they left and she stayed on.
I'm glad she's still there.
I hate Ryan. I can't. I don't believe him as a character.
Like
He's not real.
It's like probably my favorite of all of them, but that's not saying much because like it's not great.
He's like, what kills me about Ryan is every line that comes out of his mouth is like the most monotone thing ever. And the moment he like steps up to do something a little bit more like emotional or something, don't believe it. Except for Resolution. I think he's really good in Resolution when he has those talks with his dad. When he meets his dad for the first time in ages and stuff. I think he was really good in that. But I just don't like him as a character. And anyways, that's not this season.
I don't mean though. Yeah.
What did you think of fucking Stormageddon? Not Stormageddon. Swarm.
The Swarm. Great. Honestly, awesome setup. Really intriguing. Obviously, they've got a history with the Division. I literally, by the way, I had to open my notes again and go the Division. I keep forgetting that fucking name. Enticing. Looks creepy as. Again, acting around this episode was great. Again, this is a character I think could come off really cheesy, but it didn't. I even write down like that. It's almost got the where did I write this? Like it's like that weird like wheezy breathing, which I thought was creepy as. And it's like it's like, what? This is sick. Like I thought it was great. And yeah, so you pretty much hit the nail on the head with like two things this episode. I remember you said you think that like CGI scene at the beginning was going to be the opening scene of episode 1. You're right about that. And you also said you think these creatures would have been from like the dawn of time, and you're right about that as well. And I think that's really interesting. Why are they locked up? Like, well, why was he locked up? I know his sister was elsewhere, which we still don't know why she was there or why she was disguised as someone else who couldn't remember that she was even disguised. Yeah, a lot of questions. So again, not a lot of answers, but we'll get there hopefully.
I think they're both very compelling as villains as well. I really believe them, and they're I don't know. I'm so interested by these characters. I can't wait to see more. And I just think they're really good. I love the designs. We talked about that when we broke down the trailer. But even their voices so beautifully complement the designs. I think they've got these like elegant British voices, and I just can't wait to see what they're up to. Really.
Yeah, they're definitely up to no good, but I don't know what. But it's so exciting, and they have like these like psychic links with like the Doctor and stuff, which I believe they kind of touched on like the Timeless Children, where she would have like these psychic links and show her all this stuff.
Here's the thing: surely that must okay, they don't have to be, but maybe that has something to do with them maybe being Time Lords, because Time Lords have that psychic connection.
Maybe. Yeah, I think you might be onto something there. I have a feeling they're like, because it like highly hinted to the Time Lords being like a species, and then they kind of like evolved into, this species kind of evolved with the Time Lords. Am I correct? That's what kind of like they were kind of hitting that. There was something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe like this species like formed the Time Lords. I don't know, but the fact that it's locked up, the fact that the Division, who also has something to do with Doctor's past. Yeah, and also there's that scene at the end where like she's talking to the swarm, and it's like, you don't remember us fighting, which gives me my advantage. I'm going to be so many steps ahead of you. They've got a massive past together.
Can't wait to. I'm like open to if it is a character we know of already, but also like if it's just a new character with a really interesting history. Like I'm kind of open to just see where they go with this stuff. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think it somehow must also be connected to like the TARDIS, because like the TARDIS is like getting yeeted this episode. I remember there was that rumor going around that the TARDIS was this season. The TARDIS would be like dying.
Yeah.
There's like doors randomly appearing in the. There's like 2 or 3. Sorry.
It's going skits. The TARDIS is going.
Yeah,
skits.
it's like leaking. There's like doors everywhere. Jodie's like, I love. She's like fucking smashing it to get it to work, and like at the end she like rips it open, and all this time vortex energy is coming out of it. The cloister bell. That's been a while since I've heard that.
Dong.
Love it.
Love the fucking cloister bell, man.
Cool. That in a long time.
Yeah, no shit. That's when you know shit's real. What do you think of Vinder? That's Jacob Anderson's character we finally met.
I thought it was great. I really do. There's so much I really liked. I think it was all done well. Like, he seems fantastic and really charismatic. I know he made a comment the other day, like he said, like, I'd love my character to go down as someone like a Captain Jack almost, and I can see that happening even from that small scene we got of him. I also know down that he's an officer, but he must have done something wrong because he's like reporting to them and like he says like go to hell and stuff. So he must have done something wrong. Like there was even like I think it was even like a little around like he might like be a timing something like that. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how his character fits into the storyline. Really excited to see how all these characters feel. And I have a feeling it's all they're all gonna come together at the end after we see all their separate storylines, which is a very big thing that happened in Broadchurch. So Yeah, to see him like interact with like Dan, Yaz, and the Doctor, I think it's gonna be really interesting.
No, I agree. I think he's instantly extremely likable, even though he's literally one actor just on a set looking at green screens. He just does it so well, you know.
It really, yeah,
he's dope, man. So this is where we get introduced to the Flux, which visually looks stunning. I think it's some of the best. Actually, this whole episode, the best CGI Doctor Who's ever had, and it's like a Disney Plus show. You know, it's brilliant the stuff they're doing there, and I think that's a cool threat, and I think it can go one of two ways, and I'm excited for either of them. I think it's either going to be like a natural disaster thing, basically, that is just happening for the first time, and maybe these swarm creatures are gonna use that to their advantage, or it's something created by the swarm, like something that's been artificially created by someone. And both of those ideas I think are cool, and I'm happy to see them both go down.
Yeah, it's certainly is interesting, and you're right. Like the scene where like the Flux is like destroying those planets looks amazing. You're totally right. Like it looks so good. And yeah, I think it sets up Venus' character really well. Again, that we definitely do get more questions than answers, but it's the first episode. Like, I don't want all the answers. I want to be speculating with you and like my friends. Like,
yeah,
it's really cool to just speculate what's going to happen. But yeah, we don't get too much of his character. But from what I did see, I really liked.
Yeah,
you're right. Very charismatic, instantly likable, just like Dan. Just like pretty much all these characters. I think pretty much anyone in the episode. I was like instantly interested to see where it goes.
Yeah. Even the chick, the next character we need to talk about with the Weeping Angel scenes. I even thought she was really likable from the start.
I know, it's so, because there's her, and there's also Di, who is, I think her name's Di. Yeah, I wrote that down.
Dan's girlfriend.
I think they kind of like see each other, and so she gets taken away by the Swarm's sister. Sorry, I know they got names. We just
Azuri, I believe her name was
Azuri. Yeah, we've only seen it like less than 24 hours ago, so we're still a bit shady on names. But so she gets taken away. So what do you think of the only one thing that did tell me about the episode, which I didn't think was realistic from the Doctor, and it might just be because she's like so busy and there's a lot going on, but when that woman went up to her and was like, we haven't met yet, but like we will, the Doctor was just like, okay, that's nice, we'll see you in the future.
Yeah,
and she didn't question it at all, and I'm like, why isn't she questioning what the fuck's going on here?
I think
that
as a time traveler, and we've seen this in the show before, I feel like she gets that a decent amount though, like and just with the high stakes of everything that's happening right now, I kind of like that she was like, I really fucking have to think about this stuff right now. And then Yaz was kind of the one that was a bit more like, you're right. Like questioning it a little more.
Yeah, it's funny. I know Dan's like a broken record saying this, but he always, like, whenever he talks about Yaz, he's always like, where's her police training? And I think it really showed in this episode, and even to the point where she mentions to Dan that she's a police officer. I think she said she was. I don't know if she's there anymore, but
she said former.
Stuff that, so that means you were then? Like a former.
Yeah, she's not anymore.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So she must have just lost her job or something. But yeah, what the Angels are really like, I think it was really short but sweet. Same with the Sontarans. The Sontarans got more screen time, but what did you think was going on with the Angels? Because I like we don't really find out.
Not a fucking clue.
Knows. And I think that's great. It's cool,
Yeah, dude. And I did actually think it was a really good sequence, other than the fact that it climaxes with JPEG Weeping Angel jumping at you. But the lead up to that, I actually really liked the concept of her trying to get into a house, and it's really hard to unlock a door without looking at where you're putting the key. I would know. Well, we'd all know being drunk as fuck, getting at home, trying to unlock the door in the middle of the night and being like, I can't fucking get it. Yeah. And then drop the keys, and then Weeping Angel gets you. That happens to me every weekend. But no, I thought it was a good scene. I like that.
Did you notice they were a bit slow? It's like they're supposed to be like they can snap you up with the blink of an eye, but like she definitely turns around for a sort of like half second and turns back around, and like I don't know if that was like just a thing that's never going to be addressed again, but I did notice that a little bit.
I think since Blink they've really slowed down, because in Blink they're like going like crazy, like you know when old mate does that blink at the end and it like comes right up in his face at the end of Blink. The now in like Angels Take Manhattan and all the other ones, they move so significantly slower than that.
Even from like a writing standpoint, it would be so difficult to even be like, even if they literally just turn around for a millisecond.
Exactly.
So I do get it. In the Angels scene, it was unfortunately only one of two times I noticed the score. I noticed at the end. And it was kind of like a bit of a play on Murray's piece of the Angels score, which I thought was still its own thing. But I liked that. Did you like the score? I know you're a bigger Sagan fan than I.
I actually didn't think it was anything close to Murray's, to be honest. I thought it was like its own unique rendition, like because there's not really
fair enough.
There's not really a score for the Angels. It's just that sound where it's like no. And you know, there's little themes that are associated with Blink and stuff like that, but I think this seemed to, I really liked it. It had this cool mysterious score, and it was quite spooky. And throughout the whole episode, whilst not every piece jumps out like a Murray score does, I do think it was cool. I loved the score at the start. I thought it was really exciting because we spoke about the score during the day today. So when I rewatched this in the late Arvo, I actually like put my ears out to just try and specifically listen to the score. And yeah, I noticed the start. I noticed the Weeping Angel bit. I'm starting to figure out Dan's theme a little bit. And the Sontarans have a bit of a theme going, which was cool. And then the ending had a really, really good score. So yeah. Thanks, Sagan.
Yeah. As for the Angels, though, I think obviously from the trailer we see another shot, and there's multiple angels, so it's not just the lone angel. But it's after this woman. She says we haven't met yet. She also says like it's Halloween night, so she must have met the Doctor in like the past, and she said it all started on Halloween night or something. And I've seen people as well on Twitter. What do you think about this? I've seen people on Twitter mention that she says, I've come the long way around, and that's the thing that Matt says at the end of the 50th. Do you think that's any connection? Or
I'm seeing the most bullshit. Like, that's one thing. That's bullshit, just quietly. I'll eat my fucking hat if that's the case. And then I'll eat my dick if this other one is the case, where people are saying she's another version of Clara, because at the end of Hellbent, Clara says home the long way around is one of her last lines. And apparently Clara in like French is Claire, and her name is Claire. Something like, there's a few things, you know, she kind of vaguely looks like her in very little extent. She's just like not the tallest person in the world with short brown hair, so she must be Clara.
Why can't people just be like, oh, let's get a new character? Like, we had 3 seasons of Clara, and now they're like, oh, it's got to be her. It's interesting though, and we get one brief shot at the end of the episode where she gets taken to. So yeah, I wonder if we'll. I really hope we do, but do you think we'll get our own, just like we're getting a Sontaran episode, do you think we'll get our own Weeping Angels episode?
I think we will, yeah. I reckon that'll be episode 4 with Maxine. I just feel it.
Yeah, we theorized that. Yeah, yeah. I hope so. They are briefly in it.
So out of all the subplots, you know, we've still got to talk about the ending of the episode, but the only other subplot we haven't spoken about, I don't really have anything to say about it, because I don't really, to be honest, I kind of wish it wasn't in this episode because it was so irrelevant to the rest. Like, everything else all somehow loosely tied together. But the whole Liverpool in the 1800s thing, I feel like maybe that bit could have been saved for an episode where it was a bit more relevant. But yeah.
Yeah, what on God's green earth was that? Like, I don't. It's even like, again, like on the last shot, it literally just cuts to like all the characters that we've seen in the episode, and it cuts back to old mate in like Liverpool in like the bloody years ago. It's like 201 years ago or something. I don't know. What is that? Do you think? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Me either.
No idea.
I don't have a single clue. I literally have no idea.
Okay, well, all right, and something a little bit more we can talk about. The Sontarans, we got to see in action a little bit, which was cool. Dan Starkey, the man. I didn't think he was going to be back, but he is.
He's back. Yeah, I heard a weird rumor last week about him being back, and I was like, bullshit. And he was there. I'm like, what?
Mad. I really like this design. I think it's so much better than the Ross T. Davis era design. And I've not seen too many classic stories with the Sontarans. I think I've only seen the Sontaran Experiment. And it just seems like an improvement, like a better, more newer, updated version of those designs. I think this is a great design. And I like the voices.
Yeah.
And that they are like a warmongering race. I was a bit worried when they were like, look, what is it they say? They're like, look at your face. Disgusting. Yeah. Yes, we could move on from that. And the guy's like, very disgusting or something.
Yeah, very, I did put that. I put like Sontarans funny ? In my notes. And one of the things I saw everyone complain about was how Moffat just turned the Sontarans into like an absolute joke because of Strax. And I don't know if Chibnall knows that, maybe, because like I don't know, if I did this scene I wouldn't have cracked a joke, because I'm like, oh, now people are going to think that they're not that I think they're going to be like as funny as they would like Strax used to be, but that did kind of annoy me. But everything after that was like really interesting, and like they'll talk about the Flux and how it's like how the Flux is coming. And
I think they're going to be a lot sterner next week. I think they're still going to have a bit of a goof here and there, because they are kind of goofy creatures. They look so fucking weird, man. They're literally potatoes. But I think they'll have a sterner, higher stakes once again. I feel will come next week.
I agree, and we again, like pretty much like I said, everyone in this episode, we do get one final shot of them at the end of the episode, and it's like attack.
Yeah.
And as we see from the next trailer, it's called What the Sontaran War.
Yeah. More of the Sontarans, I think.
The War of the Sontarans. Yeah, we're gonna get a big Sontaran episode, which I think is awesome. I didn't see that other BBC America trailer, but I wouldn't be surprised if all of it connects with more of the story. Like, it would make sense. Like, they're talking about the Flux, and it's going to somehow connect, I assume. So
totally.
Yeah, very interesting.
I guess the last thing to talk about in the episode is when it all sort of comes together a bit, and all of the, what they call, like the Lupins or something, the race that I kind of think of his name now. I'm really losing all the names. Carvanista's race.
It's early days, man. It's all good.
The CGI looks amazing. Like, it literally looks like something from Star Wars when all those ships come together. It looks so beautiful. And they form the barricade, and then the Doctor, Yaz, and Dan, they're in the TARDIS. By the way, Dan's TARDIS introduction thing, where he's like, I had a mate that had one of these once. I think it was bigger. I think it was a really funny line, when he first walks in.
Explain that to me, because I wrote that down in my notes. Like, what does he mean by that?
I think it was just a joke, just like that. It was classic Scouse thing to just not really be impressed by this thing and just be like, oh, I've seen a better one before, kind of thing.
Right, because like, again, I see people on Twitter going, Dan was a previous companion to a Doctor we don't know about, and he's lost his memory. And
I do think it could totally mean like he's met the Master before or something like that. Especially because we didn't talk about this. Dan's house gets miniaturized.
Yeah,
that's a very Master trait, especially Sacha Dhawan. Yeah. So I'm like, maybe he does have something to do with it. Wouldn't be surprised.
I love how he's like, I can't live in that. It's just like, it's just funny. Like, even like stuff like that, and then like when like the Doctor's talking to the dog, and he's like, I'm not your human, and then Yaz is like, we were kind of walking quietly. He's like, sorry. Like, it's just shit like that, and like you hear him call out later, like off screen, going, I'm not your human. Like, he's just such a funny guy. Like, I think it's, again, I sound like a broken record now, but I think it's a great addition to a great episode.
Totally. Yeah, so come the end,
they
open the fucking heart of the TARDIS, which was a nice little callback thing. And then the Doctor's like, oh, I guess we're kind of fucked. I guess we're kind of fluxed. And then the Flux comes in, and then spooky. That's it.
Yeah, that's literally all my notes.
Big cliffhanger.
Yeah, it cuts to everybody again. And
that was great. I like that a lot.
Let's just say it wasn't just the Flux that was coming when I watched that scene. Thank you. I'm here. Yeah, wow. Like, even talking about it then, like, it really was good. Like, I really do think it was, I really thought it was good.
I rewatched Revolution of the Daleks last night, and fuck me, that episode, which I thought was one of the better ones of Chib's era, has nothing on this episode. It just doesn't feel right, you know? There's something off about a lot of this era's episodes. This one, it just seems like a really well-crafted sci-fi show, I feel. So I'm there for it, you know?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that it just didn't start like this.
Yeah.
You know, I wish it did, but it didn't, and that's okay because, you know, it's in the past, that we can't change it.
Mm-hmm.
I really do feel like it's just like they know it's Jodie's last season, and Shiv knows it's the last couple of episodes. He's like, fuck it, I'll do all this shit as really crazy, and like, let's just all hope it goes somewhere. But I reckon he can do it. I'm rooting for him. I really hope he does stick the landing. I think there's a high chance he can. So
I can't wait.
What one episode? It was crazy. It really was bonkers in the best way. Like Doctor Who should be, like a crazy sci-fi adventure that's silly and dark and fun and scary. Like, it was everything, you know.
Amen, sister. This week, because it's a new episode, there's no behind the scenes segment. Usually, if you're a new listener, we have a look at behind the scenes facts and stuff about the episodes that we review. Then we also have a segment called Goof of the Week, where we talk about goofs we found within the episode and see what TARDIS Wiki has in terms of like production errors, like silly things like a camera was in shot or something like that. I did notice in this episode there was when Jodie was holding onto the pole thing at the start and she was spinning around, there was some close-ups where she was screaming, and then it was like cutting to some wider shots, and then for like a brief second it cut like close to her again, and the sound of her screaming was still going, but her mouth was closed. Very subtle thing, but that was the only goof thing I noticed. But what we do still have, and this segment now has a much broader term. We have a segment called Just Twitter Tings, where we like to hear your guys' opinions off of Twitter and Instagram. And then because we're trying to make these 6 episodes real special, we're also taking in audio reviews over on Anchor. So if you want to submit audio reviews for future episodes, jump over to us on Twitter at 50Doctor, and there will be a little link there that you could send through audio reviews to. There'll be one of the top tweets. Every week I'll ask for your audio reviews a couple of days before the episode comes out. I'll put the tweet out saying, send them here. So as soon as you've watched the episode, you can just send a little minute-long audio review there. So yeah, just Twitter Tings. It's all about you guys. It's all your reviews. Let's do it.
Link on Spotify as well. In the app, in the description. There's a
literally
link as well.
The episode you're listening to right now. Go into the description, and there's a link for it right there. I love it.
I love it.
Okay, so we do Australia's. Usually we say third favorite segment. Let's up it to first because it's one of the only segments we have for this show. It's been promoted to Australia's first favorite segment. Connor. It's Just Twitter Tings, baby. Okay, so I have 2 audio reviews, and I believe I've got one written one over on Twitter. So let's go into it. This one is straight from the Now That's What I Call Comedy podcast.
Let's go.
Wait. No, not yet. There we go.
Right, it's Jacob here. I've tried to record this like 3 times, but apparently you're only allowed to record for a minute, so I'm going to try and keep this quick. I thought this episode was okay. It was a good start. I think the end of the episode was a bit disappointing. Maybe we'll see how it plays out. The villain looks interesting, even though it seems like it's probably considered the Timeless Child. If it seems like, because the Doctor can't remember him, so he's probably pre-Hartnell, maybe. We'll have to see how that plays out. Dan was great and hilarious. The dog person was funny. The TARDIS might be dying. We'll see where that goes. We've got the Sontarans next week. Hopefully the Angels will be expanded upon with that character. He was like, "Oh, Doctor, I know you," and she's like, "Oh, I don't know you." So we're probably going to see her again. And all that stuff in Liverpool in the past or whatever. Yep. Looking forward to next week's episode. What did you guys think?
Awesome. Well,
thank you, Jacob.
We just said what we think. But yeah, thanks, Jacob, sending that in. Yeah, it sounds like you didn't quite enjoy it as much as we did, but you did also, you enjoyed Dan and stuff like that. Shame the ending didn't quite hit for you because I quite liked it. But yeah. Cool. Shall we do Dylan's thing? Dylan's. Sorry, I don't know why I had a mind fuck there. Shall we do Dylan's review?
Let's do it.
Hello, this is Dylan.
Thanks, Dylan.
I've been a guest on the show.
Have you?
Quite a few times. You know how I am. Right, so I thought the Halloween Apocalypse was had a lot of high energy, very entertaining. I'm very excited to see where the episode goes. Not the episode, the series. I do think this episode kind of lacks any sense of satisfaction purely because it's part one of a 6-part story. And I'm a really big fan of Dan. Can't wait to see more of Dan. And Yaz
Dan.
Was the best in this episode. The best she's ever been. Solid 6. It's closer to a 7 than a 5, but 6 out of 10 at the moment I'm feeling. 6 out of 10. I burped.
Oh my god!
Thanks, Dylan.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I really do agree that I think this is Jodie at her best so far, and I think Yaz at her best as well. So that's really good.
Yeah. Again, I think they seem to be just having a lot of fun, and I think they must be really excited about this storyline. So yeah, I think it shows in their performances. So yeah.
Yeah. So over on Twitter, I got 2 things to say. One is I just put out a general poll where I gave 4 options asking what you thought of it. 37 people voted. The lowest option was End Me, Doctor Who Dead, and only 5% of that voted for it. Then 11% of people voted for it, saying the episode was aight. 30% of people voted for the option that said good, ? And 54% of people voted for top tier Who. So
wow.
Each option got higher and higher. So it was like a lot of people, I think, did quite enjoy this episode, which is really cool. And then the very last thing is I think Vinny has written one for us, which I've not read yet, but I know she wasn't a huge fan of the episode, so let's do it. Vinny says, "It was meh. I see why people enjoyed it, but for me, there was so much going on that it just didn't grab my attention. It all felt a bit messy. I'm intrigued by the woman that was touched by an angel and the woman that was waiting for Dan, and I love Dan, but I don't know. I hope after a couple of episodes, it manages to get a bit more interesting when different characters interact, etc. But for episode 1, it was just a bit boring. Boring! No, that's fair enough. Yeah, it was just so exciting though for me. But obviously didn't hit the spot for Vinny, which is totally fine. And that's what's so great about film and TV, because everything is subjective.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting because people seem to be having the same, like all those people there seem to have the same thing where it's like kind of what we said about how we don't know where it's going, but yeah, I guess you and I just kind of like, it's back, like. I thought more people would say that, but anyway, my camera's gonna cut off, so I can read all the snazzy things that you all sent me on Instagram. Hip hip hooray! That's 50 Doctor on Instagram. I've been having a lot of fun.
That's right. We're gonna be posting 24/7. You're gonna be annoyed at how much we're posting. All right, that's a fact.
100%. That is an absolute fact.
Straight shit, baby.
So yeah, I've chopped a few things on there. We had a bit of fun. We had some gooses and gaps, but I do ask you some actual important questions. I mean, yesterday I chopped up, are you excited for season 13? This is on past the 31st of October, but obviously with Australia, it was going to air on the 1st. And we got 12 yeses and 1 no. So that was really good, I think. It's
positive.
Interesting to see what, people were thinking like the day before it was about to air, or like the day it was going to air. I even chucked out stuff like, "What are you most excited about in 613?" Vinny said John Bishop. Aiden said Peter Capaldi. Jacob Hines said the Image Chibnall. Shane said who back on TV weekly. Dylan said the Dog Man. So everyone seems to be very excited. And I also asked you guys in a poll, and also if you wanted to DM me or send me anything to say what you thought. In the poll, I said, "Do you like Halloween Apocalypse?" 7 people said yes, 2 people said no. So yeah, that's still pretty good. As the actual written responses, got Shane here who said, "Loved it, so hyped for the rest, although that first 5 minutes of CGI was BS." You know what? I pretty much agree with that.
Shut up, Shane. Kidding. Thank you, Shane.
Lots of stuff happened. Good, bad. I don't know. I just had fun. Totally agree with that as well. And then we got Connor with 2 ends, not one, because not like me with 1 end. Loved it every second. There's so much going on. It's kind of overwhelming, not gonna lie. Yeah, I pretty much agree with you guys there. It was certainly interesting.
Benefits of rewatch.
I got one more here. Just before we went on air, I checked last minute reviews, and James said, "Why is Chibnall deciding to put in effort all of a sudden?" Interesting. Fair enough. Yeah, so we still got the. There seems to still be a little bit of hate here and there, but I would say overall, people seem to really like it, which is really good and groovy, and I'm really glad.
I'm happy for you, Chibs. I'm happy, my man.
I'm very happy for him too.
All right, now, next week I might reshuffle this a little bit, but I might do this segment before Just Twitter Things next week. But a new segment for these 6 episodes that we're doing is a segment called, and I have picked the best sting possible because no one's ever going to have anything bad to say about the Chibnall episodes. They're always really, really popular. It's time for What Next?
I love it. Wow.
I thought it's like a positive it's a bit of a silly segment, really, because basically in What Next, every week, once again, I'll put a tweet out asking for this over on @50doctor. But basically what I want you guys to do is send through one of 2 things. One is a genuine, legitimate theory of what can happen this week and in the following week. So I basically asked, what do you guys think is going to happen in the first episode of Flux? And then, we got a couple of ideas. And also, if it's just a silly thing, then I'm also open to that. Just whatever the fuck you want, basically.
Whatever the flux you want.
Whatever the flux you want. Yeah, we should bleep out swear words and replace them all with flux.
Just dumb it.
I'll probably tailor them to each episode. So probably for next week, I'm going to ask, how do you think? Let us know, how do you think the Dr., Yaz, and Dan are going to get out of that flux and crazy situation? And then you just tell us, silly theory or a real theory of how it's going to be done. You just let us the heck know. So, this week I asked for just what do you think overall is going to happen in episode 1? Dylan says, so what's going to happen is that dog man, the dude in the picture above, I posted a picture of the dog man, is going to be hunting down Dan. Wow. Because he wants Dan's magic pan.
Okay. Oh, the pan, yes.
Dan's magic
pan. Yeah.
Dan's magic pan, aka the Flux, will be the story arc for this series. It's because, have you seen the photo of Dan with the pan?
Yeah, with the light. It's got like the waffle or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I think pretty sure next week he's gonna hit a Sontaran with a pan. I think that's where that comes from.
Interesting.
Then now that's what I Could Comedy podcast says. The Doctor and Yaz will go to Dan's house, and the whole 50-minute episode will be a cooking show. People are absolutely loving Dan's pan. If only Dan had food in his house.
Get the soup in the pan. It's great. It's such a great photo, though. I thought it was hilarious. So it's I'm glad people are loving it.
Totally. But that was it. That's just the two. So please, send through more. I'll try to do it every week. I just think it can be a good laugh because I also think there's a chance that maybe people might get things right and that could be funny. We'll just see where this goes over the next 6 weeks, Might end up being shit and we'll stop it after next week, but who knows?
Yeah, so we'll be obviously like all week, asking questions, putting up polls and stuff and hearing what you guys think and all that. It's going to be great for a couple of weeks. I guess all you left to do really is like, what are you thinking about next week? Are you speculating this massive like Sontaran war? Will we go back to Liverpool? Will we deal with the Swarm a bit more? What are you thinking? Because I haven't seen that BBC America trailer, which is weird because normally I cut onto that. But
I
what are you thinking?
It's going to be very Sontaran focused. It's going to be their episode. I feel like perhaps for the most part, this is going to be the episode where we wrap up the Sontaran plotline. I think we might have a couple of cameos throughout the series, but this is going to be a Sontaran focused episode set in the Crimean War. That stuff has been out for a while because there was filming pics about it and stuff like that. And I also think it's going to tie into modern day London with possibly an alternate timeline or something, because what you do see in the American trailer for this episode is you see back in Liverpool, the Sontarans on the streets of Liverpool. You see outside of Dan's house, how it's got the big Liverpool Football Club stadium or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Next to that, there's a giant Sontaran spaceship. And then there's the shot from the trailer, from the main trailer, that had all the Sontaran ships that looked like they were kind of being built. I reckon that's them being built in Liverpool, because so much shit gets built in Liverpool over time, right? Like the Titanic was, I believe, built in Liverpool. I think it'll be a nod to that if there was, Sontaran ships being built in Liverpool. Somehow that ties into the Crimean War. I just think if that's the case, I think it's awesome. And it's the first time since the early Moffat years that the show is really playing into time travel, because that's such a unique concept. And being able to set episodes, one episode in all different time periods, balancing it properly, but also using time as a bit of a plot device, not just a different setting device, I think is really unique to shows like Doctor Who. And I really hope they play into that. So that's where I think it's going. As for how they get out of the Flux situation, the only thing I can think of is the Flux comes in and it absorbs them or whatever, and then that takes them into the alternate Sontaran timeline of the Sontarans in the Crimean War and stuff like that. And then
maybe
there's different timelines happening. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the best thing is that we don't know, and it's not predictable yet. Even from trailers and stuff and set photos, it all looks bonkers, and that's awesome. I didn't know that it was going to. Apart from, I know you said even on Messenger and stuff, you said when that photo of Dan with Dan's pan, you did say there's been footage of him using it on the street. So I'm like, okay, well they must somehow be on the street. I thought that was going to be in this episode, so I had a feeling they would show up in Liverpool, but I didn't think they'd be in it that much. So that's really interesting. I have to give it a gaze after this. But yeah, I think you're pretty much spot on. The idea of the Flux absorbing the TARDIS and taking them to an alternate timelines is a great idea. Will that happen? I don't know. Obviously, they're not dead because there's an next time trailer and they're all walking about in it.
And it's episode 1.
And actually, it's going to be episode 2 and they're going to be alive. So, it's it's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm excited though. I really hope they do this on Sontaran's justice. And apart from that, joke in the episode, I do think they're coming across as much more bloodthirsty, war riddled, crazy beings. So it's I think that's going to be awesome. We'll have to see how it goes. But
I'm very interested to see how Vinder's going to fit in, because Vinder, for me, the way he's been marketed and stuff makes it seem like, whereas the Sontarans, I feel made an appearance in the first episode and then they'll have a main appearance next week and then that'll kind of be it. Same with Weeping Angels. I feel appearance in the first episode and then episode 4 they'll have a big Weeping Angels episode or something. I feel Vinder is going to be showing up a little bit more regularly than that. Could totally be wrong, but just the way he's been marketed gives me that impression. So I'd be interested to see if there's just a few random scenes next week of Vinder, and just as he sort of goes on his journey, and ultimately, eventually, that ties into to the Doctor's
Meets
journey.
the Doctor. Yeah, I hope so, because again, I thought his character was really intriguing. And they brought him out at Comic-Con. So it's like he must have something big to do. I know it's a big name to add to the cast as well, so they were probably like thinking about that as well. But
yeah,
there's got to be a reason why.
There's one other theory. That's not a theory. It's just a point. Is that the two characters at the start that were observing Swarm in this cage before he horrifically changed? The gun that they had was the guns of the Division, because we saw, I don't remember her character's name, but the person that was looking for the Roof Doctor and Fugitive of the Jadoon had the exact same gun. And I think Joe Martin's Doctor holds it at some point as well. So they must be Division operatives, I believe. And that means that Swarm is he's probably being captured by the Division. He was always held there by the Division. So I'm really interested to see where this goes. I've always thought Timeless Child is one thing where it's like, we don't really know yet. It'll be cool to see how that develops. But the Division has always intrigued me. I like this idea of some sort of like undercover operations sort of thing. It's just very sus, and I like it a lot.
Yeah. And, you made a nice point today. You were like, even if like you disagree with the Timeless Children or not, like I do respect that Chip didn't back down to how it was like. It was pretty badly received, and I do like that he's still sticking with. He might change it a little bit, but who knows? But I like that he's sticking with it. And again, I feel like with the Timeless Children, I feel like we haven't gotten the full picture yet. So
I reckon there's one big twist left to do with it, still to go.
I agree. I just really hope Sasha comes back at some point this season. That would be so fucking cool. That'd be so cool. Surely he must. He's got to come back at some point. I don't know if it'll be this season, but
who knows? Maybe the tiny house. Maybe it was Sasha. We don't know. I
think that'd be really cool. So much to look forward to. This is the most exciting about Doctor Who in so long. I'm ecstatic. It's so exciting.
Hell yeah. Connor, you're so ecstatic. What would you rate the Halloween Apocalypse? To give you a bit of something to jump off of, you gave Revolution of the Daleks, the only Whittaker episode we've reviewed on the show, a 6 out of 10. I gave Revolution of the Daleks a 7.25 out of 10, which I can't believe. And I've actually, in my initial review, because I slotted it into Series 3 because we were reviewing Series 3 at the time, it's got 7.25 there. Sorry, Season 4 we were doing. And then as I've put it in the Series 13 table, I've changed it to a 6. And even that, I think, is being a bit generous, because it's not that great when I watched it last night. It was fine, but I don't want it to be a 7.25 because...
No.
Fuck it. I'm just going to go ahead and say my score for this week's episode. Halloween Apocalypse, I'm going to give a 7. Because I think it's intriguing, it's got a lot going, but I think it is better than Revolution of the Daleks. I don't know why I gave Revolution of the Daleks a 7.25. So I was like, I've got to bring Revolution down for that to make sense. So that's why
I know it's hard to look back sometimes. You're like, I should have said this. It should have been lower or higher. I'm going to give it a little bit higher and give it a 7.5.
Oh, wow.
Even when we were talking about it, I was like, oh, surely you're thinking it's an 8, but I do think it does set up a lot, and you do have that argument, even like what Dylan was saying, where it's like, in the end, when you look at the episode as a whole, nothing is really set in stone with stuff. It's all just a lot of teasing and all that. But I thought it was ambitious, Yeah, your balls are getting tickled, But that's ambitious in my opinion. If it can pay off, that would be even better.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think giving it an 8 would be giving it a little bit too much credit. But to take this fan who has not enjoyed the previous 2 seasons, particularly season 11, and have him smiling like a 7-year-old the whole time, and having my inner child come out, I think that's props. So and like I said, I'm so damn excited. I think this the fact that it's short just due to COVID, I thought was the best thing that probably could have happened. The idea it's all one serial, I think is a great idea as well. So hoping to get some bigger scores this season, because when 11 and 12 comes around, again, especially 11, there's going to be some pretty low scores. So I'm hoping 13 can take some big ones, but we'll have to see, obviously.
Damn. So a 7 from me, 7.5 from Connor. Yeah. Damn, that's our show. If you're new listening, me and Connor, we get a little bit silly and we talk about Doctor Who. We've been talking about the revival of the show. We've gone from series 1 and we're currently on a break from that, halfway through series 7, whilst we do these reviews, and then we'll pick back up from where we were with the Bells of St. John, either in like a bonus episode during these 6 weeks, or we'll just pick up at the end of the 6 weeks. Who knows? It's a lot of fun. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 50Doctor. Connor on Twitter at Hannum Connor. Me on Twitter at Greeny_Pro. And if you want to see the footage of this, you can jump over to YouTube, and we are the 50% Doctor Who podcast. Connor, is there any last words? Anything at all you want to say?
I would say as well, my other podcast, For a Laugh, on YouTube and Spotify, I'm going to be talking about it this episode a little bit more with a friend of the show, Dan, who joins us here and there on this show.
And he'll do the finale with us as well. He is.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, we confirmed that the other day. So yeah, check us out. We just started the podcast from like the beginning again, from like a bit of a reboot. So I'm really proud of it. You can check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. The footage version is on there. Check it out. We talk about Doctor Who there quite a bit. So yeah, awesome. Thank you for joining me today, Aiden. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. It's so good to have Doctor Who back, baby. Woo!
Yes, it is. I love it.
Preach it, sister. Now this is the part where we get very silly and we sing our song. Also, mad there was no Beatles references in this episode. That's why it couldn't get higher than a 7 for me. As if they didn't play fucking Yesterday or I Want to Hold Your Hand. God. Of course. That would fit so perfectly in this so super adrenaline-filled episode, right? It just would have been so in place.
Like 10 hockey Red Bulls at once.
Chibnall was definitely on speed writing this.
He's like,
he's got his speed dealers on, and he's like
just typing away. And somehow it was really good. It shouldn't have been. Somehow this episode's so packed, it just shouldn't have been good, but I loved it. So
fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's sing.
Can't wait for next week. Awesome.
Let's sing our favorite song.
Get ready for this, new viewers. The best song.
It's right. It's actually quite a sensual experience. Just like as I'm talking to you right now. It is
ASMR.
A little bit ASMR. I think you'll get a lot out of this, and it's going to make you feel real good. Okay, cool. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Take it away, go.
1, 2, and it's
and Connor's podcast. We're doing Doctor Who reviews. It's the Flux Doctor Who review. Did you like how it, Connor? Did you like how it said Flux in the title sequence underneath the words Doctor Who? Did you like that?
Did it?
Yeah, it did.
Did it?
Well, it said Doctor Who Flux.
Oh, Flux. I didn't see that.
Doctor Who Flux. Yes, in the bed of the TARDIS. That's why they have the trampoline there, because they get up to a little bit of fun. All right, fuck that. That's a wrap.
Got it. Perfect.